wish I could say that I was, like 100% confident we'll get a vaccine for COVID-19.
The trouble is that the people who think that they can take responsibility for their own health and take their own risk are, I'm afraid, misunderstanding the situation.
Now, whatever else we might say about the pandemic, I think we have to recognise that this is largely of our own making.
The most radical change to UK medicines law in over half a century is set to occur in October. The changes will allow experimental COVID vaccines to be rolled out and promoted like no drug before it, as well as to be administered by people who are not qualified healthcare professionals.
We've got 30 million doses already contracted for with AstraZeneca. In fact, they are starting to manufacture those doses already ahead of approval, so that should approval come through, and it's still not certain, but it is looking up, should that approval come through, then we're ready to roll out.
The Oxford coronavirus vaccine trial has been temporarily put on hold after a participant developed an unknown illness. Researchers halted the experiment to investigate whether the patient had an adverse reaction to the vaccine.
There's a small window of opportunity to stop this happening, but it needs as many people as possible to object, so that the changes in the law are not just rubber-stamped by Parliament. That window is provided by a public consultation organised by the Department of Health and Social Care that closes on the 18th of September. You'll have one chance to make your views and objections known to the government before the amendments to UK medicines law go to Parliament. This is not just about COVID vaccines. The changes in law are also happening at the same time that the UK takes over full responsibility for its laws on medicines from the European Union because of Brexit. Safety testing of drugs and vaccines don't always stop an unsafe drug being sold. That's why Vioxx, Baycol and Bextra had to be recalled. Testing before the 1960s was even less rigorous. That's, of course, when the thalidomide disaster struck, causing an epidemic of birth defects to children born to mothers who had used the drug for their morning sickness or anxiety during pregnancy. Modern testing protocols that are now about to be cast aside by these new laws were built on the horrendous experiences of thalidomide. No one wants a repeat of these kinds of disasters. But the new track the government's amendments have set us on could do just that. The fast-tracking of regulatory approval protocols, the disregard for properly informed consent, the creation of a whole new brigade of vaccinators who are neither healthcare professionals nor are answerable to any registration board, together with the reversal of a 42-year ban on direct-to-consumer advertising of prescription drugs and vaccines, could create the perfect storm for such a disaster. We need to tell the government we won't support a change in legislation that opens the door to coercion of the public in a mass vaccination programme using experimental vaccines based on genetic engineering platforms that have never been used at scale before. The taxpayer pays for and also indemnifies all commercial interests from any civil liability in the event of injury. Are you happy for the manufacturers of these novel vaccines to be granted full immunity from prosecution if they cause damage to those vaccinated? The consultation closes on the 18th of September. We've got this very small window of time in which to get in our responses, as well as telling as many of our friends, relatives and others in our networks to respond as well. We've put our draft response to the consultation on our website in case you find it helpful in making your own response. Please follow the links below. Say it now. Don't regret it later.